During the 494th day of the war in Ukraine, the fighting was mainly concentrated in these areas. On Bakhmut front, there are important news coming from Klishchiivka and Berkhivka. It is reported that the Ukrainian forces, supported by tanks and artillery units, have broken through the most important defensive position of the Russian defenses west of Klishchiivka. As we mentioned on our previous video, since yesterday in this area there have been heavy fighting between Ukrainian and Russian forces who wanted to keep this trench-like position at all costs. On the other hand, the numbers of the Ukrainian forces engaged in this part of the front were increasing as the hours passed, and in the end, the Ukrainian forces managed to take this key position. Now, the advancement of the Ukrainian forces towards Klishchiivka becomes much easier, and we can say that in the coming hours the Ukrainian and Russian forces will most likely fight on the western outskirts of Klishchiivka. Another assault group of the Ukrainian armed forces continues to exert pressure on Klishchiivka from the northern direction. Meanwhile, north of Bakhmut in the direction of Berkhivka, Russian sources reported today that the Ukrainian forces continue their advance inside the town. During the last 3 days, the Russian forces have tried several times to counterattack and repel the Ukrainian forces, but without success. After the arrival of fresh reinforcements, it seems that the Ukrainian troops have resumed their offensive and are now reported to be in control of the southwestern part of the town. Fighting is expected to continue in the following days in this direction. On Kherson front, yesterday there was some confusion over the situation at the Dachi bridgehead. Based on the reports of an offensive conducted by Russian forces towards the Ukrainian positions inside the town, some Russian sources were quick to call the job finished. Indeed, this Russian attack was more powerful and coordinated than the previous attempt, and the casualties among the Ukrainians may have been higher than the last time. But today, as the situation became clearer, it is reported that Ukrainian forces continue to hold their positions in Dachi. So, the second Russian offensive has failed to totally remove the Ukrainian forces from the bridgehead. According to some Russian sources, what prevented them from entering deeper into Dachi is the fact that the Ukrainian army continues to mine the areas around their positions, and that the Ukrainian artillery has been very effective, causing a lot of damage to the ranks of the Russian troops during their offensive actions towards Dachi. On Donetsk front, Ukrainian and Russian sources reported that heavy fighting is taking place east of Avdiivka. The attack on the Russian forces from the directions of Kruta Balka and Krasnohorivka has been going on for several days and recently has intensified even more. However, the Ukrainian forces are resisting along the entire line, taking advantage of their defensive positions. Until now, the Russian forces have not managed to advance towards Avdiivka, but the fighting is expected to continue in the following days in the Vesele-Kruta Balka line. That's all for today's video. Please don't forget to help the channel grow by liking the video and subscribing, and also for those who want to support the channel, you can visit my Patreon page. Thank you.